Good evening, everyone, and I am feeling incredibly lucky tonight. Hence, I've got my lucky sweatshirt on because I am interviewing one of the most amazing people from our company. I've known Nick for a long, long time, so it's going to be great chatting to him about everything to do with the events industry and everything to do with our global rally. So for those of you that haven't listened in before, my name's Natalie Healy-Shields. My background is actually in marketing, but I started in network marketing 15 years ago. Got introduced to the industry through my mum, although it took her 10 years to get me to take a look and get started. And let's just say I've never looked back. Started off as a single mum, and this business has enabled me to put my kids through a private education and to live a very luxury lifestyle. And I'm very privileged to help other people do exactly the same. You can find this obviously live on Facebook now if you're listening in. So if you are listening in, please share it to your profile, share it with your team if you're in network marketing, or maybe you work in events, because you will get loads and loads of tips and someone will be picked to win £50 worth of products. You'll also find this on Spotify, on Natter and Instagram TV, and also on my YouTube channel. So please like, share, and let's have some fun this evening. And let me introduce you to my very special guest, the one and only Nick Woodward-Shaw. So if you guys are part of Forever Living, then please share this now with everyone. Tag people you know in the comments, and Nick will be here to answer your questions. So good evening, Nick, all the way from Arizona. How are you?
I'm awesome. Is Nick on Nat's Natter? That's a mouthful, isn't it?
It is. And my brother's called Nick as well. So I'm used to Nick and Nat quite a lot.
Awesome. I'm great. Thank you very much for inviting me on this today.
I'm guessing it's a little bit warmer out there than it is here, Nick.
I'm looking out over blue skies, and I could be in my t-shirt outside with a couple of palm trees, but I didn't want to rub it in to all my lovely British friends. So.
And for those people that don't know you, the accent gives it away. You started your career here in the UK. So tell us a little bit how you got into events.
So it was quite, I guess many people have these things, but a sliding doors type incident. So I studied engineering at university.
Just similar to events then, not?
got a great degree, and at the end of it, my main realization was that I don't want to do engineering for the rest of my life. So I lied to my parents and told them that I'd really like to travel the world. Actually, I wasn't that bothered about that at the time. I just didn't want to go into a career in engineering. I thought this would buy me some time to decide what to do. And cutting a very long story short, I borrowed a bit of money, traveled, did a lap of the world, but had to work as I traveled. So I had the ticket, but I had to work to live, as it were. Ended up in Hong Kong with literally no money. Like, I didn't know what I was going to eat that night.
So proper backpacking.
You know when you're 21 and you don't care about that stuff?
Yeah, I do it too.
And I went to try and find some bar work, and basically stumbled across these guys. I didn't get the bar work, but there were some people talking about organizing events in Hong Kong. And I was listening in and said, can I come and work with you? And I didn't know anything about the industry. It just sounded cool and fun. And ended up working on, I was very junior level, of course, but on concerts, fashion shows. We did Bon Jovi shows, we did Michael Jackson shows, we did Versace fashion shows, and so I stayed there for 3 months. By the time I went on to India, got back home to the UK, and when I got back home to the UK, there was a message from that company saying, do you want to come and work with us full time? So I moved back to Hong Kong for 3 years before moving back to England.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. So for those people that don't know you, Nick, you are now Vice President of Communications of Forever Living, which is a very, very smart title. And for those that don't know Forever Living, we operate in 160 countries worldwide. So it's a pretty big setup, isn't it?
It is. And it sounds really posh, that title, but I feel so privileged to do what I do. I don't tell my wife, but if I won the lottery tomorrow, I'd still be in the office.
She still wouldn't see you because you'd still be working really hard doing your passion. And for me, Nick, knowing you and knowing you for obviously the whole 15 years that I've been in Forever, your passion just comes alive at the events. So you started with Forever in 1999, which was at a UK event. Tell us a little bit about that and, you know, where that journey has taken you now.
So I remember I worked for it was an event management company, so that had several clients, and we got a call from, I think it was Bob. That might have been Bob Parker's first year as country manager in the UK, and we got a call, and their existing supplier to build the stage for the Success Day at the National Motorcycle Museum in Birmingham. I believe they'd gone out of business or the partnership fell apart or whatever. So we got a call maybe 10 days prior to that event to say, can you help us, pull together this event? Of course, we said yes. We had no idea who Forever Living were. I was the assistant on the project. And I remember sitting in the room at the back of the room, there's probably 800 people there, and thinking, these people are crazy, but I kind of like them.
I think that's what a lot of people say about people in network marketing, because they're obviously all independent business owners that aren't being told to go to a conference or an event. They're there because they want to be, which is why you get so much passion and enthusiasm.
Absolutely. And the energy was crazy. And my first thought was, this must be a little bit fake, because everyone's so positive, everyone's so excited. And after doing 2 or 3 of those events, I mean, I just loved the environment, the positivity of it, and the can-do attitude was infectious. So I asked my boss, I said, can I look after Forever Living? Because I feel a real connection here. He was very happy for me to do so and got to know Bob better. And I've probably produced 150, 200 success days in my time before coming in-house and being part of the UK team, but mainly looking after then the bigger events into Europe and Africa.
So to explain, Nick, to people that don't know Forever, how many people on average do you get at our average global events or European events then? So
our biggest one has been 20,000. And that's a lot of people in one city for 10 days. And obviously it's my responsibility to make sure that they get there safely.
And which city was that?
That was London in 2014.
And where were we?
We were at the O2 Arena. And that was one of the proudest days of my life, because I was actually at the O2 Arena on New Year's Eve in '99 when it first opened. And I remember walking in and seeing it was the Millennial Show produced by Peter Gabriel. He was a hero of mine. And I remember being in this space and thinking, if I could do an event of this size at some time, I will die a happy man. And 14 years later, I had the dream of producing, and it was an incredible show. And mainly because of the Forever audience, because they are so positive and so just, you produce shows for some audiences that sit there and like, okay, impress me. And the Forever audience comes to the event, which is the greatest joy for me. Like, I'm excited to be impressed. Give me your best shot. And they just go with it, and it makes the atmosphere.
Yeah, the Forever business owners around the world, when they come together, because they do have that passion, because it's their own business. A lot of them have obviously qualified to go, so it's a free trip. And the excitement is just there. I can remember that one, Nick, so clearly, because just explain to everyone how the founder of our company entered the O2.
I can't remember how we did that. I've done so many.
He came in through the air.
I'm gonna correct you. That was Vienna.
Oh, was that Vienna? Oh my God.
However,
that was pretty amazing. In fact, how did he come to that one then? Did he come up through the floor at that one?
Yes, he did. He came up through the floor of the stage. But
yeah. So it was pretty impressive. I mean, you always put on a show, Nick, and that's what it's all about. It's not a boring work conference that a lot of people are used to. It's definitely a show.
Well, the O2, of course, O2 being pretty much, well, it's the busiest concert venue in the world, and a true honor for us. When I originally went to see them and said we were going to put it on the business event, I told them, please forget that it's a business event. It's essentially, it's a rock concert with some speeches. And of course, they've seen everything and done everything. And they were a little bit like, yeah, you know, taking it in their stride. And you know what? This is true. In 2014, and when the O2 had Madonna went past there, Bon Jovi went past there. I think that was the year Michael Jackson did his shows. They had an incredible lineup of the year. And at the end of the year, they do a competition amongst their staff of their favorite event of the year. And the Forever Living Global Rally was voted the #1 favorite event by their staff.
Wow, that is absolutely insane.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Just because of the positivity.
Yeah, the positivity is just totally infectious. And we've obviously had a real tough year this year, Nick. You were, well, if we just fast forward a bit, you were taken out to the US nearly 10 years ago and got the job title that you have now of running these events in-house all around the world. Our last rally was due to be in Australia. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we booked Australia. We should have been there in April 2020. Yes. And everything was ready to go. As you might imagine, each rally is 3 years in the planning. So we typically are working 3 years ahead, doing the contracting, starting to plan out how it will look, feel, booking the entertainment, booking the hotels, all that kind of thing. So we were, by the time COVID started to rear its head in early 2020, we were, I mean, it was done and dusted. We've spent millions of dollars. We were ready to go. And then I remember it was on the 28th of February, we started to realize that actually this pandemic could have an effect on the event, which was about 6 weeks away. And so we sat down in the boardroom, studied the numbers, of course, had a big fight because, as with everybody, there was at the time, there was some people saying this is nonsense, it's going to go away in a couple of weeks. And some people like, this is here for the long stay. And I'll be honest, it was Rex's involvement that made the final decision. And he said, we knew we had to make a decision then, what to do. And Rex's advice was that if we chose to cancel the event with the best of intentions of the health and safety of our business owners, then we will never be vilified for that decision, even if it turned out that to be okay. But if we went ahead with it, with our head in the sands and didn't put the health and safety of our FBOs first, then we would be forever vilified. And so it was those words of wisdom that made us pull it, sadly.
So we pulled the event, and so you had, what, 6 weeks to come up with an alternative?
Well, not only that, so the following week from that decision, I was due to be in Sydney to do the final run through with all the venues, hotels, vendors, suppliers, and just dot the I and cross the T's. So I was due to fly out. I decided I had to still fly out. And there was a risk of being stuck in Australia, which wouldn't be all that tough of a thing. But what I ended up going was really renegotiating all of those contracts so that we could move the event forward 12 months, because we had many millions of dollars invested in Sydney, and obviously we couldn't just walk away from that. But then you're right, as soon as I came back from that week in Australia, it was head down planning a virtual.
Traditionally, Nick, we're not a virtual events company, are we?
No.
We are very much in person, with the mindset, with the positivity, hugging and waving our flags and doing all of those things that people think make us a little bit mad, but is what we love, and people love the energy. So how did you pull that event off?
It was tough. So we realized we had to cut the cloth to suit. So we decided we wanted to come from the home office. We knew that we weren't convinced the technology was there to bring too many people in live. So I believe if I remember rightly, I think we brought in the top 5 checks live, and they could get that bonus, the chairman's bonus.
It was recorded though, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Recorded live, bringing it in.
Yeah, and then basically it was just writing the scripts, make sure Aidan, Greg, Gary, Garen, Navars were in the right place at the right time, and then we spent a whole day filming it, edited it very quickly, and then put it out live. But it was a whole new feel and experience that felt difficult because for me, the most important elements of the event is generating those connections, emotional connections. And if I can make my payday is if I look out and see somebody smiling from ear to ear, or occasionally with an emotional tear, that's payday. And to do that through a video, through a virtual experience is very difficult. So we realized we needed to cut the cloth to suit. The technology was fairly young a year ago. And yeah, but we had over 1 million views of that video.
Wow.
We were hoping to get around 100,000, so it blew our minds.
And that's been shared and watched ever since. And, obviously, just before we go on a minute, for those people listening in now, please like, share, tag people in the comments that will be interested in this. So your team is Forever Living, or anyone working in events, and you've got the chance to win £50 worth of products. So I can remember watching that event, Nick, in my kitchen, which was, very, very weird for me because, I'm used to being there at all of them and just loving everything.
Hanging out backstage.
Yeah. And it was also a time, where I'd achieved a chairman's bonus check, but I didn't feel that I wanted to put it out there because, there were so many people in a terrible situation and there was just so much uncertainty there. And now, a year later, I've had to learn to run my business totally online. And as a result, we've grown, which has been amazing. But it's been a fantastic year of learning. And seeing what you guys have done for us has been just out of this world. The trainings we have at our fingertips and, still being able to have that passion together, I think, is really, really working. So the big question is, we've got our rally coming up 8th, 9th, 10th of April.
2 weeks today.
2 weeks today, yes. What can we be looking forward to? And how you've spared the time for me today, I will never know.
Well, Natalie, I'm actually working 18-hour days, 7 days a week right now. But the chance to sit down for half an hour and not think about that is kind of nice and music to my ears. Yeah, I don't know if we've bitten off more than we can chew, I'll be honest. But this year is going to be something else. The platform we're using is Zoom. So we're going to have the ability to bring certain people in real time into the event. And we are going to come into some of your living rooms. Some of you will know about it. Some of you are not going to know about it. So don't be in your PJs.
So we need to make sure it's tidy for a start.
There's no washing in the background.
Anything we shouldn't be doing because we never know.
But what we've done this year is we've really decided we needed to up the game. So it's over 3 days, each day about 2.5 to 3 hours, and we've divided it into three subjects, if you like. Yes, there's buy tickets.
Buy tickets there. Dates, subjects here.
By the way, ticket sales close on the 5th of April. So a few days before the rally. So make sure you get those in time before we have to close the tickets.
And those tickets can't be shared, can they? You get a passcode which gives you a one-time entry. So you can't then say, oh, well, I'm going to come for one day. You can go for the other because I can't do that because it will only give one entry to one person's device, I presume.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a unique ID to you. To your email.
It's pretty impressive how technology works with all of that as well. I mean, the changes that must have been made in the past year are just beyond me.
It's phenomenal. Yeah. So yeah, we're looking at 3 days. So as it says on the screen there, Thursday the 8th, we're calling that Inspire Day. And the reason for that is we had in 2020 almost 1.1 million new people join Forever, which is so exciting. Now, and what we want
a year, of change for people, a year where we're a company that is, more in person, that has come online, and we've had that growth. I didn't actually know that figure was so huge. That is massively impressive.
And to be honest, a little bit like your chairman's bonus check you talked about from last year, we've not been shouting this from the rooftops because it has been such a tough time, and I've lost good friends who've passed away, and we know so many people have been affected by loss or losing their jobs that it's actually been a good year for us. But being honest and like we are in Forever, we didn't want to shout that from the rooftops. But so that first day, that Inspire Day, really we want to aim a lot of that at new people, because many new people will not have been exposed to the corporate business in this last year. So we'll be talking about, when we do some of the recognitions, we'll be presenting it kind of in the layman's terms. So these new Sapphire managers, typically what have they done to achieve this? How long have they been in the business? That kind of thing. So
yeah. We could have viewers listening. Do you have to be a business owner to be able to come along to our virtual event?
No, and actually we would encourage prospects, anybody that's just interested in hearing about the opportunity. It's obviously completely non-invasive. You can come on, take a look. It might not be for you, and that's fine, or it might not be for you right now, and that's fine. But I do promise you, it'll be a lot of fun. You'll have a giggle. You'll see some amazing things that you've not seen before, and you will have a good time. So yeah, absolutely, it's not just for business owners.
Today one's all about Inspire. And tell me just quickly, Nick, you say it's 2 to 3 hours each day. How did you come up with that amount of time? Because obviously our events normally are a lot longer. So where did 2 to 3 hours come from?
Well, it was a lot of it is about attention span, if we're honest.
Obviously.
If you're in person in an arena and there's stuff happening, you can go grab something to eat. You're so immersed in it, and the music hooks you in that you can be held for, as 5 or 6 hours. Sometimes we do. So we realized we needed to make it tighter, because we all get distracted so much easier when we're watching through a screen. And then we just looked through the content that we had to cover, the business side. So some of the recognitions, the chairman's bonus checks, hearing from Greg, some inspirational thing, about Rex's values, and then try to work out, okay, what's that time limit looking like?
And what I'm going to do, and what I'm going to be telling my team to do, is to rig their device up to their TV so you can see it on the big screen, sit comfortably, have your snacks around you, and it's going to be like watching a long movie.
Turn it up loud.
Yeah. Or, to be honest, people are used to binge watching Netflix series now. So actually, it's probably going to be a really short amount of time. Yeah.
It will fly. There is so much content, so much happening in it. The second day is more of a classroom day. It's called Educate. And we have new product training from Holly Stout that's going to talk about the new products that have been announced the day before. We will have some training on quite a bit on retailing, again, aimed at the newer people. We've contacted some of the best in the world at retailing for social media, how to do your 4 CCs using retailing, how to keep your customers happy, the top 5 questions that you get from new customers and how to answer those. So, and then I'm not even sure we've announced this yet. You guys are going to be the first to know. We have a very special.
Share it, everyone. Press share, share, share.
We have a very special guest that I was all coy about yesterday when I was talking to this guy. But at the end of the show, we're going to finish with a space shuttle astronaut.
Oh my word!
On our rally. Live.
That
Not
is
from space.
Oh.
He's come back.
But yeah, that's going to be really impressive. And I guess the mindset that goes with doing that is pretty much out of this world.
Literally out of this world. And he's going to loop that back. So he knows about our business. He's aware. His name is Mike Massimino. And he's going to relate both, leadership, trusting others that he had to do. This guy, I was sat in awe talking to him because I couldn't believe we were having a one-to-one with him. He fixed the Hubble telescope, which would have been out of action for several years if it wasn't for him. And he was running oxygen when this was happening. And he just knew he had to do it. And he stayed out there as the spacewalk. And he was the inspiration for George Clooney's performance in the movie Gravity.
Wow, that is to do that you've got to have an immense amount of belief and trust in yourself, isn't it? And that positive mindset as well. So I'm sure he'll enjoy being around our business owners from around the world.
And we're about to throw out a competition. Again, you're getting all the exclusives today. We're going to throw out a competition just for us. He doesn't normally do this. He is going to take a few questions live from some of your kids. Not your kids necessarily, Natalie. I mean,
the forever kids.
We've got an opportunity. I think it's going to be for 3 children around the world to speak live to a NASA astronaut.
Oh, wow, that's brilliant as well, involving the children. So again, if you're listening in, make sure you're sharing this in your team groups, sharing it with your team members, sharing it on your social media. So you need to be getting all of your team at this event because it is going to be incredible. 10th then is the celebration day. Tell us a little bit about that, Nick.
So all of that I've talked about already, this is now the exciting day. So imagine, it's going to blow your minds. So this, a lot of the focus is going to be on recognition. The last day you're going to hear a keynote presentation from Greg, who's going to he's going to talk a little bit about his journey with Forever. So obviously he's been in from the very, very, very beginning. I think when the business started, he was, should I give away his age? I think he was nine, something like 9 years old, something like that.
I don't think he was as secretive as his age as his father.
Right. And so we're going to hear from Greg talking about a little bit about his journey, but also about our commitment, the company's commitment to you, and the fact, and I'm obviously on the inside, but I know this for a fact, every single one of our employees, their single goal is to make you successful. And that is what drives us every day.
It shone through this year, you know, in a year where there's been a fear with amongst not only business owners within the company at the start of the pandemic, but everyone, and that reassurance, that, you know, trust, that belief, that support for us has been shining through the whole time. So I cannot wait to hear that and to see the other celebrations of the day, which is, of course, the Chairman's Bonus qualifiers from around the world, the top 5 or top 10 countries?
Top 10 countries, but just touching, and this has probably been the hardest work, there is going to be some check reveals for our very top checks that people are going to wonder how we did it.
Wow.
And I can't say anything.
Are you going to be picking on me? You normally like to pick on me and my kids.
Of course, I like to pick on you. I think it's the top 5 that we're doing really, really very insane stuff. And all of this, I'm going back to something I said earlier. I think what we miss sometimes about these virtual events is those goosebump moments, those very emotional connections. It's really, really hard to do that. And my hope from this and some of these check reveals, if we manage to get those goosebumps going, and I think we will, it's a happy day. I've done my job.
Well, do you know what? The changes you've had to make have just been incredible, and seeing you do that and come from, you know, a man with so much experience obviously in physical events to have to move that online into an arena that's not familiar has just been so impressive. And I know the excitement in my team for the event is absolutely huge. Couple of questions. Here's one you might or might not like, Nick. Is Eagles still going to happen in Arizona this year? Spill the beans from Jocelyn over in France.
Okay, so I'll be really honest. We don't know. As it stands right now, it's on. But what our decision is that let me get this right. By the time the incentive ends, which is the 30th of April, we need to have a decision, because we think by the time the Eagles are announced, we need to decide. Obviously, we couldn't do it right now because many countries can't fly in, and our deciding factor is basically going to be whether countries can make it. I think by September, the vast majority of the US will be vaccinated. So I think here will be safe to come if it can happen. It just depends on government regulations in other countries.
I think like everything around the world is so uncertain now. You don't know whether you can go on holiday to the next county, let alone another country right now.
But we are absolutely obsessed with getting back to in-person events. Don't be any doubt of that. But we'll only do it when it's safe to do so.
When it's safe, yeah. There's lots of questions and excitement. NASA astronaut, and here's one from Santa. Can her boyfriend ask a question as he's her man-child?
Aren't we all?
A lot of people of all ages being excited for that. What's this one here? I can't wait. I started just before lockdown, so I've never been to a rally. Tanya actually started, she's a fine example, started with the company at the first lockdown in about March last year, I think it was. Went manager, so one of our key stages on the marketing plan. She worked doing beauty, obviously couldn't do that, replaced her income, and, you know, is excited to be at the first rally online. And one day to throw herself into the GLT. There we go. There's some massive belief and positivity there.
Tanya, we want to see you on our rally stage one day. Keep working hard.
Yes, absolutely. She'll be there with a chairman's bonus check, no doubt about it. So, Nick, thank you so much for giving us your time this evening when I know it's such a massively, massively busy time. You've got 2 weeks left of 18-hour days. My husband actually said to me, oh, well, Nick must not be very busy at the moment now then with the with no physical events happening. And I said, I think he's as busy as he's ever been.
I think it's probably this rally is probably going to be the toughest ever put together, because I'm such a control freak when it comes to the rally. To have people speaking and things happening in different countries that I can't go and touch it and feel it myself is freaking me out slightly. But
everyone's a little bit out of their comfort zone, but we know, you know, that's where the best things happen. The best things happen in life when you get out of that comfort zone and push yourself forward. In fact, just finish with what Rex told you at that first event, Nick.
So I shared this with Natter. The first time I met Rex Morn, which was in, I can't remember, it was 2004, 2005. It was in Berlin backstage. He had no idea who I was. I was stage managing the profit sharing rally as it was then. And he saw me running around like an idiot with my clipboard. And he said, stop a minute, stop a minute. He said, it looks like you're really stressed. And I said, Rex, sir, I'm not stressed. I just don't want to make a mistake. And he said, never be afraid of making a mistake, because if in your life you never make mistakes, it means you're not pushing the boundaries as much as you should. And as I walked away, he said to me, but if you make the same mistake twice, I'll kick your ass. But at every single event we've done since then, I look at the agenda that we've got and I think, which is the element here that we're really pushing the boundaries, that it may not work, but if it does work, we're going to get that killer moment. And we apply that to every single event we do since that moment.
You know what? And that is just a great place to end, Nick, because how many people look at the network marketing industry, have that fear and think, should I start? Should I not? But you never know. And, you know, you've got to have a go and see where it takes you. And I'm so, so glad my mum made me look at this, even though she nagged me for 10 years to get started, because I wouldn't be in the position where I am. And, well, you know, there's a lot of the UK that wouldn't be in possibly the position that they are now. So go forward. Don't be scared of making mistakes, but don't make the same mistake twice. So there we go. Thanks for listening, everyone. Don't forget to like and share with your team for the chance to win £50 worth of products. I'd like to thank Nick Woodward-Shaw, Vice President of Communications of Forever Living, for giving us his time this evening, and look forward to catching up with you all very, very soon.
Thank you, everyone.